Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, the Wise Guy, and today's January 3rd, 2025. New details are emerging as far as the relationship between Trump and Musk, and it would seem as though there is trouble in paradise. Additionally, a pattern between the terrorists that attacked over the New Year holiday and other domestic terrorists have started to emerge, and the results are worth your attention. So if you enjoy news, history, or Americana in general, just make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I would be much obliged. So, sit a spell, take your shoes off. Recently, with the drama swirling around Muskrat and Vivek Ramalama Ding Dong, it would be easy to lose focus on other ways that Elon seems to be popping holes into Trump's policy agenda before it even sets sail, which is somewhat of a sticking point because, along with irritating Trump's internal alliances, Musk is now threatening his foreign partners as well. Some Americans may not be up to speed on the German political party called the AfD, or simply Alternative for Deutschland. This party began in 2012 2013 as a means to add a challenge to an area of 20 member states that have an alliance built upon the euro, the primary unit of currency in Europe. The AfD offered an alternative for more conservative Germans, as the Social Democratic Party of Germany, or SDP, has maintained a governing rule since 2013. Germany also happens to be Europe's largest economy. It was also initially only somewhat skeptical of the EU, which helped motivate its inception. Much of this stems from older issues that still remain in much of Eastern Germany post reunification. Since moved dramatically far right in its recent years and has also become the second most influential political apparatus in Germany. The movement went from being skeptical of the euro to openly calling for its abolition. It also adopted a lot of Christian groups into its ranks as well. You can liken the movement as Germany's MAGA, although I wouldn't really go that far. It's also been very critical of immigrants and members of the Islam faith, and it's starting to take on a more nationalist appeal. Mainstream German parties have all but refused to cooperate with them, but now it may seem like there may be no alternative, as the AfD is projected to build a massive coalition in the parliament after the elections that are to be held this February. Unfortunately, now Trump and his incoming administration will be trying to form greater alliances in this movement, and it will be a little bit more difficult given the remarks that his Doge buddy Musk has made. Now the German government is openly accusing Musk of interfering in their recent snap elections. From my own perspective, this doesn't sound much different than, hey, you Germans got a lot of nice opportunities and cash flow going on here. Would sure be a shame if something were to happen to it. And he's trying to run an investment racket while he's trying to also, en masse, put Germans through extortion. He then tried to play on the anti establishment sentiments that Americans also share, which contributed to the results that we received in November. Keep in mind, this has been seen as a huge interference, and it is. Musk is an African born American man trying to sway German voters through threat or coercion of economic resources to support a government entity that will be both friendly to Musk's demands and open to a rise in discriminatory hate towards everyone who isn't German Christians. Even the incoming vice president has stated that he doesn't weigh in on the foreign elections, given how large of a line that would cross. Yet, after seemingly giving the helm of our national fate to Elon Musk, Trump is poised to stay on the golf course and let the fox play in the henhouse. If we aren't careful, Elon Musk will build a massive far-right globalist movement built on hate, division, and enriching himself, and gain the influence that Hitler and Putin could have only dreamt of without ever firing a shot. It reminds me of those mafia leaders who would protect communities for their cooperation. So a message to my European and German friends in particular. Elon Musk is a snake in the grass. He doesn't have any desire to help you. He means to enrich and empower himself further by exploiting you. The only way he can do that is through your support. If you cede your own power over to AfD and then they become beholden to Elon Musk's wealth, will you be in charge of Germany? Or will the American billionaire be truly running your country? Take it from me, an American. It's embarrassing as all hell to see the memes of Trump as a lapdog for Musk. Our military might will soon be at the behest of the dancing dipshit. He bought Trump's presidency, and in turn, he bought Trump. You can't let this happen to you. This is a shot across the collective bows of your sovereign democracies, and y'all need to hold firm. Don't let Musk buy your government the way he bought ours. It also appears as though a flaming Cybertruck burning at the foot of a Trump Tower on a New Year's terror attack is almost a tragic yet fitting image for the new year, because new details have come out on the suspected terrorist. The family of the man that drove around Vegas before ultimately taking his life and causing a Tesla Cybertruck to explode was a far right Trump supporter, per interviews with his family by The Independent. His uncle called him the Rambo type who loved Trump and always a very patriotic American. And then the follow up that kind of gave me chills and sprang to life images of shit from my childhood that a lot of youngins these days aren't really familiar with. He said, and I want to quote, he could have fashioned a bomb that would have obliterated half of the hotel if he seriously wanted to hurt others. It was then that emerged a piece of ugly truth that we all as Americans must face now if we don't wish to have to face it later. It brings me no joy in saying this. It actually pains me deeply. But the pattern that's starting to emerge is that a large portion of domestic homegrown terrorists that have acted out in violent travesties in the name of their own ideology have recently all been members of far right communities, and many of them veterans of our armed services. The uncle of that terrorist, which I don't want to call him a terrorist because it seems more to me like he committed an act of self harm with a message that will probably become clearer in the near future. But I digress. The uncle mentioned that hypothetical that was actually based on reality. That reality being that of Army veteran Timothy McVeigh during the Oklahoma City bombing. McVeigh also was a far-right anti-government terrorist who did just as was described on April 19th, 1995. The terrorist who just killed all of those people in New Orleans was stationed at the same base at one point as the gentleman who lost his life at Trump Tower. Many of those who helped lead the charge into the Capitol on January 6th, veterans, right-wing extremists that call themselves militias, like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, are primarily founded by, led by, or filled with veterans of our armed services. Not only does this present opportunities for those veterans to share their learned skills with those who shouldn't really be privy to them, it creates another situation not unlike when veterans and active police members filled the ranks of the KKK in the earlier 20th century. It gives hollow credence to the members of these groups that what they're doing is somehow patriotic and not the clear opposite of thereof. We need to help snuff this hatred and fear out before it takes root. There is a dark movement going through our country right now that we need to take heed to. And we need to remember. So we don't continue walking into the future with horse blinders firmly attached to our face. Currently, the voting for the new Speaker of the House is going down as I speak. And he will lead a sycophantic group of Trump loyalists creating laws into the new future for all of us. We can only try to maintain civilized humanitarianism and peace in that time while we also engage in some civil disobedience and, as the legend John Lewis once so eloquently put it, good trouble. Um, but when we are able to organize and we have an opportunity to try and fight back the legislature, um, that will be the real resistance that we'll be able to get some kind of footing with and possibly have against the authoritarian policies or agendas that may come out of this administration. The only way that we can prepare to do that is to stay informed, stay engaged, and stay decent.